It has pockets. So you all have heard about those people who have a head injury and they wake up speaking another language, a language they've never spoken before. I woke up sewing. I am not even kidding you. I suffered a really traumatic brain injury and it was debilitating. There was a siren going off constantly in my left ear. It never stopped. I was nauseous, I was angry, I was frustrated. I couldn't read. I couldn't drive a car. Well, I could, but my family wouldn't let me. Nothing was what it was before, and I couldn't find myself. And it was terrible. And I remember one day I was trying to pour milk in my tea and I was pouring it in the purse. And I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't stop myself. And so I went to the specialist and I said, "You're going to have to fix this." And he said, "We don't like to use words like fix." I said, "Make up a word and apply it." And he said, "Well, what's happening is this. Your brain, the computer was designed to work just like your brain, and you've been storing memories and thoughts and ideas and everything. You've got a memory for walking, one for talking, a script for walking and talking. All of those scripts are all confused and they have to be put back together. And just like the computer, you have crashed and you're going to have to reboot." I looked at him, I crossed my eyes, and I started doing this. He said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Uh-huh." He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Deleting old files." "Look, there's you." I was so frustrated with the fact that I would heal, but when? They sent me down the hall to the occupational therapist, who was this delightful woman who recognized very quickly that something was wrong. Well, it was her job to know, and she was really good at seeing it. And I started unloading everything that was wrong. I said, "I earn a Ph.D. at 26. I read 6 books a week. I've taken care of my 5 adopted children. I'm caring for my mother. I'm doing all these things, and my brain is broken." And she looked at me and said, "Move to your heart." I don't even know if she knew that she said that. The level of frustration I had was so great. I heard everything at the same level. Somebody walking, the sound of the air conditioner, everything was at the same level. And I would get angry if somebody was writing a letter. It was just frustrating. She saw the frustration and she said to me, "I need you to know this. Your brain is going to heal. It's going to take some time. But wherever you are when it heals is where you will be." I told my family, and every time I'd get frustrated, my daughter would look at me and go, "Is this where you want to be when you heal?" And then I remembered the other thing she said: "Open your heart, move to your heart." I said, "What is she talking about? How does that work?" Somebody gave me Tom Shadyak's documentary, I Am, where he asked the question, what's right with the world and what's wrong with it? And the answer is, I am. I started looking at everybody that was in that documentary, and I found the folks from Heart Math Institute. And they literally had techniques for taking what they call the 13-inch journey from your head to your heart. One of the things they said was remain open to what comes to you. And one day I was walking in my dining room and something said, "Make a dress." And I was like, "What?" Make a dress. And I was like, remain open. Now I'm hearing voices. I don't know how to sew. I didn't know how to sew anything. But the voice said, "Make a dress." And I was like, well, okay, I'll make a dress. And I remembered I'd had some fabric that I brought back from Singapore when I had been visiting, and I brought it back for a friend, but I had forgotten that I had the fabric, and I was like, she didn't know she was gonna get this fabric. So I went to make the dress, but I didn't have a pattern. I didn't have any pattern. And I was like, I wonder if I could make it without a pattern. So I folded it some kind of way, and I stood over this fabric ready to cut it. It was raw silk, it was hand woven and hand painted, it was beautiful. And as I was about to cut into this fabric, I said, I can't cut this fabric. It's too precious. And that same voice said, so are you. And I've cut into you. Cut the fabric. I cut the fabric. I had to hand stitch it because I didn't know how to use a machine. It looked too small. My daughter said, just put it on. I put it on and she heard crying. She said, what's wrong? I said, it fits. I wore it the next day to church. Somebody said, oh my gosh, you look so great. Did you lose weight? I said, no, I made my dress. Somebody said, give me a hug. I said, it may fall apart. I said, wow, I've got a dress. And then I made 2 more the next 2 days. And I said, I've got 3. And a memory came back. When I was a child, my family was poor, very poor. And I had 3 dresses. And kids would make fun of me. And they said, we can tell what day of the week it is by what dress you're wearing. And so I called my friends over and I said, take everything in my closet except those 3 dresses I made. And they said, oh, bless her heart. She is just not healed. Is that Louis Vuitton? I had those 3 dresses and I said, I'm either going to learn to sew or this is where I'll be. And I said, where do I want to be? And I kept saying, I just want to be normal. I just want to be normal. And then I remembered that the thing that takes more energy from me than anything is trying to not be who I am. And I have to be honest with you. Up until that point, I had been living with MS for years. And I didn't say it. I didn't want to admit it out loud. I was falling everywhere because I didn't want to admit that I needed help. I didn't want to admit what was wrong. But we can't heal what we won't admit to. This nation is sick and rife with the disease of racism, and sexism, and homophobia, and all these things that we can't heal from because we don't want to admit it. And we've got to admit it if we want to be healed. And then once we're healed, we've got to stop re-injuring. I decided I don't want to go back to normal. I want to get to better. One day I woke up with a migraine. I said, I'm not going to make it. It's so cold outside. I've got a migraine. And I thought of all the people who were outside and cold. And I said, I wonder if I could make a coat. And I sat down and I made 172 coats. And I put a heart on the inside of each one that said, I matter. And we gave them to people who lived on the streets. They some designer people now. I realized that we've all been through something that feels like this head injury. It feels like MS. We've lost pieces of ourselves, of who we are, who we were. We've lost loved ones. And we're all trying to get back to normal. But if normal worked, we wouldn't have gone through what we went through. We've got to get back to better. We've got to do the work to get close enough to love one another, to look in each other's eyes and understand who we are and what is missing. We have to get to better. And sometimes it comes with a limp. But it's okay. There's so many things I can't do that I used to could do. But as my mother would say, used to done died. Where we're going is so much better. I want to leave you with a passage that I wrote years ago that is so true for what we've gone through right now. Don't rush back to what you were. Be still. Drive a different way. Take the time to talk to somebody. Listen to the voices that are within you, because if I know how to sew, it's because one of my ancestors knew how to do it before me. My children of grace, you have to start this family over. It's on to you to set things straight. You done traded one slavery for another when you turn your back on love. You ain't free to do what you want to do. You're free to do what you're supposed to do. Take care of the children and the old folks. Just because they don't come from you, don't mean they ain't yours. Learn your history. Love, forgive, but never forget. Stand ground, because a bigger change than I've seen is coming, but you're the beginning of that change. But change change never come without struggle, and joy never come without pain. In your lifetime, you'll see the struggle, but you got each other to get through it. Don't let the little things keep you from the big ones. Others will try to stop you, but they can't. This thing is already moving. Everybody who looks like you is not on your side, and everybody who don't ain't against you. Talk to God and never stop loving. The more I write, the more I see. The more I see, the more I know everything gonna be okay. I can feel it. So I'm leaving these pages here with you because it's my time now. And I feel that too. Learn from the past that's yours. Take the gift of what I've seen and use it for love. Here's the recipe of life, the road to freedom. Freedom ain't just about living free. It's about being free, then turning around and set somebody else free. The only problem is this. The chains on your wrist ain't as strong as the ones on your mind. The only thing that can win over that evil is your learning and your loving. So keep learning to love. Keep striving to love. 'Cause babies, we ain't got time for nothing else. I love you.
I grew up in Wilmington, Delaware. I lived on Gordon Street. It was really an alleyway between 22nd and 23rd. My oldest sister, Myrna, had somehow pulled herself up off that street. She lived in New York City and was an artist and photographer. I asked her how she did it, and she told me that I needed a bigger window. She said if I wanted to get off of Gordon Street, I was going to have to see the world bigger. I'd need to go to the library and find books and people who lived and dreamed of things bigger than themselves. She said I needed to search the world for my answer. I needed more diversity than I could see. I used that diversity, that window into the world, to find a better place, better way, better thoughts, better life.
I'm standing on land that was a part of the original 40 acres and a mule allotment, under a tree that's hundreds of years old. God only knows what that tree may have seen. I'm wearing a dress that I made from Italian cashmere that I bought from an 85-year-old man in New Orleans. Diversity of thought, of life, of living enables me to open myself up to the possibilities of life. Without diversity, I can't see a better me, and you won't be able to see a better you. So sign up for these courses, because what I really want you to know is that what you've been taught about diversity is not really what it is. It's so much more. And the power of diversity has the ability to change your way of life immediately. I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and this is the power of diversity.
So join us at Better University, get it? For courses on diversity and belonging, purpose, finding and living in your purpose more intentionally, engagement. What does it mean to be truly engaged? How do you become an effective storyteller? Sign up for the courses now. The first course will be on diversity and belonging, and you will not regret it. I'll see you soon.